What is up? Welcome to week 4 of our Abide series, all about reigniting our souls. And that's what this series is all about, that when we learn to abide, that we will truly inherit the gift of life. We've been using these words, abide and remain, interchangeably. But I want to continue to ask you, how are we supposed to abide and remain in Him? I mean, how is that possible? I want to ask you the question, have you ever realized just how much stuff you have? Anybody realize just how much stuff you have? I mean, I went through my mugs. Let's just talk about mugs for a second, right? I went through my mugs this summer. Do you know how many mugs I got rid of? I counted them. It was 2 boxes full. I dropped them off at Salvation Army. You know how many mugs I had? I got rid of 53 mugs. 53, I didn't even know. I had these 2 cabinets back there underneath my coffee maker. I didn't even know I could stuff that many mugs back there. I didn't think the cabinets were that big. I got rid of 53. And not long ago, I was like, hey, I wonder how many mugs I still have. Do you know how many mugs I still have? I got 25 mugs still. I have 7 tumblers. Then I got 13 of my espresso mugs, which I count, they're separate. They're separate spaces. These are my espresso mugs. This is my pride and joy. You know, these are beautiful. They're all from different countries and different trips I've taken. You know, this is the best espresso mug collection the world has ever seen. And so I love those. I got 13 of those. If you do all the math on that, I didn't even know this. I was responsible and taking care of and washing 98 mugs, people. 98 mugs. That's insane. I was responsible for 98. It's wild. I had, and the bigger thing, and I hope this is kind of the big kicker for the message that I want us to recognize, I had no clue. I had no clue that I had 98 mugs, which begs the question, what else do I have that I have not taken account for? Which begs the question, what do you have? Don't just point your finger at me. What do you got that you have not taken account for? Have you ever taken into account all the things that you're responsible for? I mean all of it. Have you ever actually sat down and written out all the things that you're supposed to do on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis? And let's just start simple. How about we just talk about, some of us, we got mow the lawn on our list. Every week, that dang grass grows again. It gets me every week. Why, it grew again? I got to do it again? You got to mow the lawn, which means you own a lawnmower and a weed whacker, and if you're taking appropriate care of it, that means you got to be changing the oil and keeping up the maintenance on both of those things. Let's talk about, what about owning a car? Many of us have a car. Some of us got 2 cars. What do you got to do if you got a car? You got oil changes and tires and brake pads and constant gas fill-ups and insurance and registration. That registration sticker, I never see it. I never see it. Get pulled every day. You know you register. Oh my goodness, it's right there every time. I never look down at that. Owning a home. Did you know that if you've been renting most of your life, I rented a lot of my life. You know what's the worst part about owning a home is you get to this part where you get this home, it's beautiful, and then something breaks and you go to call the landlord. And landlord's been deleted, and the contact list is you. You're like, wait, I gotta fix this now. You gotta things don't just keep working. You can't call the landlord anymore. The electric, the plumbing, the siding that's molding or falling off from the most recent storm. Why does siding just not stay on the side? It's called siding. Stay there. Keeps getting on my lawn. You know, we haven't even talked about basic life tasks. You gotta do the laundry. You gotta wash the dishes. You gotta shower. You gotta brush your teeth if you want to be a clean person. And then, we haven't even talked about meals. You know what's crazy about meals? You have to eat like every 4 to 6 hours, and you never really, why do we never know what's for lunch or dinner? Some of us, like me, we've been going on 36 years of this, and every 4 hours I'm like, I gotta eat again? And what am I supposed to eat? There's no food here, and I'm in charge. I used to think it was just my mom's issue. And what about all the extras you have? That's just the basics. What about the extras? Some of us, if you own a hot tub. Some of us own an extra property. Or you built out a great fire pit, but for now for it to look good and feel good, you got to maintain it. You got to weed it. You bought a grill, brand new grill. That's awesome. You didn't realize how much you got to clean these dang things to keep them nice. You maybe you planted brand new trees, and now you're out there every 3 days watering the dang trees, 30 seconds on each tree, or else they're going to die. Let me tell you about it. I haven't even talked about clothes. I haven't talked about general body maintenance. I haven't talked about exercise. You know what else I forgot to mention on this list that some of y'all are already overwhelmed by? Your job. The thing that takes up 40 to 50 hours of your work week, we haven't even got to that, right? Some of us are overstimulated just thinking about these lists, but I want to remind you, I'm only reporting to you some of what you have taken on responsibility for in your life. Do you hear the emphasis? Yeah. You. And I haven't even gotten to other people yet. Have you ever sat down and written down how many people you want to stay in touch with or how many people you feel responsible for? We haven't even gotten to that. I actually did it one time. I was trying to be super selective, and I ended my list with 53 people written down. And some of y'all be like, well, that just sounds, really? I got 4 brothers and sisters, and they each got a spouse, and I got a mom and dad. I'm already at 12. I haven't even gotten out of the family circle yet. And not one of the people I put down on my list was outside of my circle, nor had anything to do with a social media contact point. What am I getting after? Once again, what am I getting after with the whole series? How are we supposed to possibly remain and abide in Christ when we have all of this to think through and look after? Remember, our anchor verse for this series has been John 15. What's it say? Remain in me, and as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself and must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear how much? Muchness of fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing. Nothing. And so we keep coming back to this. We could talk all about growth and change, evolving, going, doing, getting after it. But if we forget to remain in him, Jesus says we will bear no fruit. We've been saying it this way. Our ability to abide and remain in him is actually what will link us to our highest output. And again, we're going to keep coming back. How am I supposed to buy that sentence when we all just admitted we have way too much going on? But we can say this way, we have too much to do, and we are in too much of a rush to get it all done to simply abide, right? Just do the math. There is no way that you will ever find true peace for your soul and the ability to remain and abide in Christ and in his ways if you have 98 mugs to wash, a lawnmower to maintain, an acre to mow, car oil to change, tires to rotate, brake pads to replace, a weed whacker to fix, wood to stack, a hot tub to drain, trees to water, a job to get to, meals to cook, books to read, leisure to find, and 3 bikes to fix. And all of this between Friday at 5 p.m. and Sunday evening because work starts at 8 a.m., and you're going to be too tired and the hours are too short to get it all in once you get home from work. Woo! Some of us, I'm exhausted just talking about it, right? And this is where we get to this whole purpose of the series. If we're going to learn to remain in the presence God has for us and abide in him, then we've got to lean into these 4 age-old secrets that have stood the test of time. We've talked about silence and solitude. We've talked about the Sabbath, and today I believe it's one of the lost secrets of our modern world, and it is to simply simplify. Simplify. Just simplify. Simplify everything. Everything we're talking about. If we've got this many responsibilities, in order to actually be able to abide and remain, we're going to have to simplify our responsibilities. We're going to have to simplify all that we are trying to manage. And when we talk about simplifying, the goal isn't just to declutter your closet or garage, but to declutter your life, to clear away, pay attention, the myriad of distractions that ratchet up our anxiety, that feed us an endless stream of mind-numbing drivel and numb us to what really, truly matters. Simplifying is all about getting rid of anything that does not add value to my life, anything that does not spark joy. Hello, Marie Kondo. Nobody watched her? Nobody, just me? No shout out? I thought for sure I said Marie Kondo, I'd get one lady to go, woo! No? Okay. Continue on. Too much stuff is getting rid of too much stuff in too small pace. Anything that we no longer use or love, anything that leads to a feeling of disorganization. But we're not just doing this for the practical sense. We're doing it because simplifying will ultimately give your soul a chance to wake up and allow you the time to truly live and abide and remain in Jesus and his ways. So with that, I'm going to encourage you with 7 ways to simplify your life in order to give your soul a chance to catch up. Number 1, I already talked about it. Here it is. Take account. And when I say take account, I mean a literal count. Take account. Actually write down all the things you're responsible for on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. I'm talking write down all of your possessions, your subscriptions, your responsibilities, your workload, your commitments, your recurring expenses, the people that you're responsible for. Write it all down. Some of you thinking about writing down everything you're responsible for already, you got heart palpitations going on. Let me remind you of a couple things as you get through this and you sit down with the notepad and your hand starts to quiver a little and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Let me remind you, you cannot simplify a life you've never measured. In other words, AK, you cannot fight what you have not seen. You can't even begin the fight, right? And so also this, if the list overwhelms you, don't be surprised when life does too. Right? At least with the list, you have now made the invisible anxiety visible. Now, once it's visible, now you can get to work. I want to remind you again, I'm going to keep reminding you, this is your life. Take account. Take account of it. Number 2, get rid of clutter. Number 2, get rid of clutter. If you don't have any more places to put things, stop buying more compartments and more storage ways and more bigger things that you can, but now we can hide it better because I built a whole new apartment that we can put it all in there and shove it in there so we don't have to see it. Stop buying more of those types of things and instead get rid of. And I'm not only talking closets, hallways, and staircases. I'm talking get rid of anything that might clutter your mind, your heart, or your soul. This includes digital clutter. Where you got to get rid of email or turn off that phone or get rid of apps and notifications. I mean, let me just help you. Some of y'all's phones look like this. Some of y'all's phones look like this. And let me help you with this. If you're looking at this around 200 times a day, because that's the actual fact, that's 13 times an hour, about every 5 minutes, you're staring at that. No wonder your mind, your brain, your soul, and your heart feel cluttered and overmaxed. Right? In fact, a couple years ago, I noticed my home screen was just going so crazy, and so I made a simple change, and I started to make my home screen look like this. That's my home screen now. It's clean, it's orderly, it's neat, so that when I do look at it, and by the way, also if you pay attention real quick, I'll just break this down for you. In the top left corner, you see maps. That is telling me where. You see Trello, that's my what. That is my to-do list, so that is my what. You got my calendar, that's my when. You got my bank account, that's my how much, how am I gonna do it. Down below, I got my who. My phone and my mail is my who. Kindle is there because I don't wanna just sit down on the toilet and hit social media, so I sit down on the toilet and do a little bit of reading, everybody. And then I got Safari going on because Safari is just my classic search engine. But I know exactly what I'm doing when I open up that phone, and it clears my mind every time I look at that. This is a simple way to get rid of digital clutter. You don't got to do it like me, but help yourself by getting rid of digital clutter. When I go to my home screen, I'm going to a place of order, because I want you to hear this. My phone and the digital world are tools for me to use, not an engine that gets to control me. They are tools I'm using. I am in control. Okay, go on a war against clutter, though, not just digital clutter. Go home and go on a war against clutter over the next month. Go through your garage, your basement, your social clutter. Some of y'all need to just move on. That friend is a bad friend. That person doesn't need to be in your life anymore. Get rid of the clutter. There's a lot of clutter that adds up in our homes. I'm encouraging you, and in our lives, I'm encouraging you to create rhythms and habits to get rid of the constant accumulation of clutter. Pro tip, by the way, as you get rid of clutter, we have a Christmas giveaway we do here every year, shameless plug. You can bring it right to us, and we will give it away to those in need during the greatest time of the year, which is during Christmas, also one of the neediest times of the year. So as you get rid of your clutter, as long as it's good stuff. If it ain't good stuff, take it to Salvation Army. They'll love you. This is my last statement on clutter. Clutter clouds our vision and it competes for our attention. And if I gave you a saying, I would say this: cloudy eyes, confused hearts will lose. The saying is clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. Get rid of your clutter. Give your soul a chance to wake up, to catch up, to breathe, to have a chance to see what Jesus has for you in his ways. Number 3, replace, don't add. When you get something new, this is simple. When you get something new, get rid of an old one. I just started doing this with mugs now, right? I just got rid of 53 mugs. But you know what happens when we get rid of something? We typically just go out and go, I got more space for more mugs. We do it all the time. Don't do that. Start to put it into play. Once you get to a place where, guess what? I am very content with 25 mugs. I don't need 26. I'm content with 25. You got to determine I'm content. Once you know you're content in a certain space and place, be content. Then you know if I go buy a new one, I just bought one in Clayton the other day. I said, buy one, but I had one in mind. I'm going to come home, and as soon as I get home, I'm getting rid of the one I had already chosen in my mind. I'm getting rid of that one. It says positive vibes. It's too big, though. I don't like it. All right, so I'm getting rid of it. I do it with clothes now. If I go out and buy a new shirt, new pants, I come home. I pick a shirt that I'm getting rid of. No more. I don't need to add more into my closet. It's a really simple process once you've made the decision to be content. Replace, don't add. Number 4, renew before you acquire more. If you want the cutesy version, I would say it this way: renew before you get more new. Simple. Stop creating more responsibilities to manage another new thing before stewarding the ones you already have. This is an American crisis that we are in, right? This is simple. It is learn to update, fix, and renew before adding any more new. We all admitted this. We have all these things to do. We've got all these responsibilities to manage. But every new thing we add only gives us a whole new what? A whole new responsibility. More new always leads to more upkeep. More things always lead to more responsibility. More things to fix, manage, clean, maintain, update. And again, all of those things are stealing from what? Your ability to remain in Jesus. Your ability to remain in the things you say are most important to you. Your ability to remain in time with your family. Your ability to remain in health for your own self. Every single one of these things that you just keep adding new to steals away from the things that you keep saying are most important in your life, let alone abiding and remaining with the creator of your soul. Instead, learn to update, fix, and renew. We just had this situation. I was trying to do some electrical work. I don't know all that much, but I got YouTube and the brain, and I was trying to work it, and I clipped something, and next thing I know, I was working on our bathroom, and we lost electric in the kids' bathroom. I lost it in the hallway. All my ACs went out. I was like, whoopsie. And we had extension cords going through the house everywhere. We had no lights. The kids couldn't use their bathroom because it was dark and pitch black in there. So they were using ours for like a month. And finally, I got my father-in-law over and said, I need help. I don't know what I've done. He got there. We worked for a good afternoon. And finally, he got it all up and going. We changed the filters out of the AC. They were blowing colder than ever before. It was amazing. And when Sierra got home that day, she came in and she goes, wow, it feels so fresh and clean. And then she said, and new up here. Did we get anything new? No. What we did an update, a fix, and a repair. Let me tell you this. It felt like a new space because we did an update and a fix to an old place. We've got that all throughout our homes. I want to encourage you this. Learn to update, fix, and renew before you get new. We got all types of things that we're managing that we don't have even updated, fix, and renew, and we're just addicted to the new, best, next thing. What if instead of spending money on the new thing you want, you spent that money to fix the thing at your house or paint the counters like you always wanted to or finish the stairs? Here's an idea. This is one I'm going to start employing. What if next Christmas or for your birthday you have coming up, you don't ask for a single new thing? What if instead you ask the people that are already buying you a gift to instead chip in toward a house repair or help pay to fix your mower or to get that hot tub cover for you since yours is duct taped together and barely hanging on? That's me. The objective to learn here is this: stop getting more before you've fixed and tuned up what you already have. And number 5 sounds similar to it, but it's different. Number 5 is this: keep up with you and yours. You know this expression, gotta keep up with the, yeah, let me let you in on a secret. Who knows the Joneses? Where are these Joneses? And why do we even pretend like we like the Joneses? We don't know them, right? Let me ask you a better question. This is a really deeper question. Can you even keep up with yourself? Learning to keep up with you and yours, this is all about intentionally zeroing in on, I'm going to say it again, ready? Your life. This is your life. Intentionally zero in on and keep up in your life. I've got a new saying. Keep up with the Gilchrist. And I ain't talking about my parents or my two brothers. I'm talking about me, my wife, and my two kids. Get out of everybody else's business. Get off Instagram for the love of God. Stop comparing and competing with someone you don't know, and you don't know what they've got going on in the dungeons of their own house and their own heart. Keep up. This is the power, this is a statement. Keep up with what you believe that God intended for your life. And let me help you with this. Isn't that enough? Like, it's enough work. I don't know about y'all, but I try to do this I do this pretty well, and I'm still gassed. It's tiring. I got to keep up with not just me. I got to keep up with my health. I got to keep up with my wife. I got to keep up with my two kids. They're needy. I mean, I love them, but dear God, you know? Just brush your teeth. It's good for you. Like, what about the question? Let me ask you, what about this question? How are you doing at keeping up with your own life? If not all that well, let me remind you again, I hope you're going to keep on picking up on this reoccurrence. You wrote it. How are you keeping up with your life? If not very well, you wrote it. You wrote it. So dial it back down. And if you've got it all accounted for, you could just start scratching things off. I ain't doing that anymore until I take care of the most important. I'm talking shift it, shake it, hack it, and rebake it until it's palatable, until it's livable. And here are a couple clear questions for you to know whether you're managing your own life well. Number one, when was the last time you had a day? When was the last time you had a day? Number two, this is a bigger one. When was the last time you had a day every week like God intended for your life? When was the last time you had a day to just delight in all that God made and all that he gave you and all that he's blessed you with? When was the last time you had a day every week to do it? And here's the kicker. If you're trying to keep up with everyone around you, you're never going to get a day, let alone a day every week like God intended for your life, because someone in your life always appears to be doing something. So to keep up with the Joneses, that engine, your engine, will never turn off. Learn to take your eyes off of the Joneses and keep up with the life God intended for you and yours. Number 6, simplify your relationships. Simplify your relationships. And I'm going to fly through this, but it's a big one. This probably deserves its own message at some point. But how do you simplify your relationships? Number 1, you take account. This is another literal count. You do what I just told you about before in this message. You take account of all the people you feel responsible for or you hope to stay connected to. And then number 2, you shrink the circle if you need to. You shrink the circle if you must. And here's another pro tip from me to you. Delete social media unless it's making you a good amount of money. Unless it's making you a good amount of money, it is a distraction from the devil himself. That's what I believe. Most of those are counterfeit connections anyway. If these people are not calling you or texting you the day your child is born or willing to show up for you or the day where you're remodeling or you're moving, put them in their proper place, which is deleted, and move on, all right? That's my take. Number 3, clarify expectations. Clarify expectations. This is so important in every relationship you have. What's the expectation? The gap between expectation and reality is disappointment, anger, hurt, and bitterness. All right? So you have to clarify expectations constantly. What does that mean? That means even my kids. I have a metric. I have an expectation with my kids. Do you have a metric for your parenting style? Do you know how many times we come home as parents and we feel like, I just feel like a bad parent? Why? Why? I just feel that way. I can't even tell you how many times me and my wife, we just re-encourage each other. Are you kidding me? We sat down and did dinner with the kids 5 days this week. We did bedtimes. You did bedtimes with them 5 days this week. You woke up with them and we made them breakfast 4 days this week. You were with them in all the in-betweens outside of work. Like we just were with them. We hung out with them. We did media night Monday. We did adventure night Tuesday. And we feel, that's just a feeling because you never built a metric or an expectation even for your own self. Clarify the expectations of what a winning relationship looks like between you and the other person and continue to hit those goals. Even my friends, I have 2 brothers who live out of state. Guess what? We do a once a month phone call. And that's pretty much what we're getting in this season. They got young kids, I got young kids. That's what we get. We get a once a month phone call. If I miss you on the group text thread, I missed you. They're not angry at me, I'm not angry at them. We get the once a month phone call and that's it. And that's move on. And that has to do with number 4, which is communicate your season. Communicate your season to the people you care about. Everyone in my life knows right now my main priority is my wife and kids. It's the season we're in. In fact, in May and June, nobody was offended when I didn't go hang out with them all those months. Why? Because I was at a baseball game every single night of my life, right? It was practice and then game and then practice and then game and then practice and then game. If I got people barking up at me going, I can't believe we're not hanging out. I can't believe we're not hanging out either. It's another dang 8-year-old baseball game. No for me tonight. If you want to see me come to my kid's game, you know where I'm at. That's an expectation. That's communicating the season you're in. Let me give you a higher level one. I was just at a leadership event. One of the speakers told us that for 1 year she was working on a project. It was a 17-month project. She estimated it is going to take her 17 months. She shrunk her circle down to 5 people. She said, you 5 people are the only people. And she told a bunch of these other people, she said, I'm so sorry, but for the next 12 to 15 months, I'm not coming to the birthday. I'm not picking up the phone call. I'm not sending the text messages out. I'm working 100-hour work weeks. I got to get this project done, and then hopefully I'll be able to come back to real life. Communicate the season you're in. And by the way, the real ones will understand and ride with you regardless of the season you're in. If they're going to get so offended, oh my God, you're not going to talk to me for 12 months. We're not even real friends. They weren't a real one anyway. Move on. Hallelujah. Okay, number 7, my final one. Number 7, learn to say no and to let people down. This is tough for us as people pleasers typically, but simplifying isn't only subtracting possessions, it's subtracting obligations. But I want you to hear this. Jesus said no constantly. Constantly, Jesus said no. We talked about this in week 1. Jesus said no to crowds. He said no to requests. He said no to staying in certain towns. He said no to healing people who were in need. He often withdrew and left people in need of healing. He said no to becoming king, even though there was a ton of expectation. And he said no to expectations constantly. If we can't say no, this is what will ultimately happen. We may find a way to own a couple fewer mugs, but we will still have overwhelming calendars and ultimately an anxious-driven life. Most of us are caught up in saying yes because we're afraid of letting down people we love. Keep the love intact. Remind them that you love them. Tell them when you communicate the season. Don't be a jerk about communicating the season you're in. I love you. I care about you. I hope we get to have deep relationship again. But I'm in this season. I'm in this moment. I'm on this project. It's just not realistic for me to do that. But I love you and I care about you. Most of us are caught up in saying yes because we're afraid of letting down people love. It's a lesson we're going to learn. And again, I'm just going to double down. If they love you that much, they'll still ride with you when you have to tell them no. That's it. 7 super practical ways to simplify your life. Why? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are we doing this? To give your soul a chance to catch up, to give your soul a chance to enter into abiding and resting in Jesus and his ways, to give your soul a chance to reignite and reawaken. Because life is actually very, very short. And let me remind you, you do not actually have much life to go around. I want to remind you of the yeses. Every yes is a trade. Every yes to another position is asking for a little more money. Every yes to a commitment, ask for a little more time. Every yes to another notification, ask for a little more attention. Every yes to a relationship is a trade and ask for a little more energy. Eventually, your life will become so fragmented that there's nothing left to give to the things you initially said. I want you to hear this, that you initially said were the most important in your life. there's nothing left. There'll be nothing left to abide in Christ, in his ways, and certainly not to be able to feel fruitful and rested. And I want to remind you of this. This is a tale as old as time. In fact, there's one young man who became wildly successful. He became one of the most famous people in this world. People adored him everywhere he went. His work was everywhere. He had more money than he knew what to do with. He got married. He had a bunch of kids. He had a beautiful home, multiple houses. He had more influence and prestige than most people would dream of. But behind the curtain, tales all this time, his life became increasingly consumed by all this work, all this travel, all these performances, all of his ambition, and maintaining an enormous public life. Unfortunately, his marriage collapsed after more than 20 years. His family relationships became really complicated. Many of his children later described the difficulty of living with him. His body began breaking down under the pace he demanded from it, and he was eventually repeatedly warned by his doctors to slow down. But he continued pouring himself into his work anyway. In 1869, his health became so poor that he collapsed from a stroke while on tour, and his doctors ordered him to stop all work just for a time so he could recuperate and get back to a space and a place of health. But he went back anyway. Back to the readings, back to the writing, back to the work, and on June 8, 1870, after spending the day working on another novel, he suffered a massive stroke. This time, he never regained consciousness. He was gone. The man who gave the world Ebenezer Scrooge, a story about waking up before you've wasted your life, ultimately struggled to live that for himself. Charles Dickens was only 58 years old when he died. This man who spent his life writing stories that taught the world how to live, but apparently he never learned how to put them into practice in his own life. And it had ramifications, and this is the real part I want you to pay attention to. It had ramifications on what? It had ramifications on his marriage, on his relationship with his kids, on his friendships, and on his own health. The things that most of us would all admit or say that our intention, that they are the most important things in our life. Almost as if the engine of success demanded all that most matters, and ultimately his life. You see, the reminder at the end of this week is this: you have, I have, we have but one single life to live. You are not just simplifying for the sake of simplifying. You are not just taking 7 steps down and trying to biohack your days so that it gets just a little bit better. No, you are simplifying so that you can enter into the abundant life Jesus lived and told us we have the ability to have life and life abundant. You are simplifying so you can enter into a deep relationship with God once again, so you can enter into the beauty of marriage and actually be attuned to the marriage and the person that you chose to spend the rest of your life with, not a screen every night before you roll over, give a peck on the cheek, and go back to sleep. This is so that you are simplifying so you can engage in a meaningful relationship with your children once again, that you could hear the laughter and not just hear it and put it into your brain somewhere, but so you can hear it in the depths of your soul and know that the joy of God is found in that laughter. You are simplifying so that your friendships would be enriched and life abundance would come to you, that you would even have time to care about your own health and that your own life would improve because you have tapped into one of the 4 age-old secrets that have stood the test of time, something that Jesus himself did. Joel read it earlier. Do not put your treasures in things that moth and rust will destroy, but put your treasure into the things, into the kingdom, into the ways of Jesus, and you will see life and life abundant come to pass within you. You are simplifying so that you can walk into the rhythms and the tensions. You know that Jesus himself, he says, I have nowhere to rest my head. It was an ode that he had no place to call his own, but it wasn't just that he had no place to call his own. It meant that he was free to go live out in mission. He was free to hang out with people. He was free to engage with the needy. He was free to reach out and be a part of deep relationship. It was easy for him to often withdraw into places, lonely places, to spend time with God. Why? Because he had no mortgage to think about. I'm not saying that you have to sell your house. I'm not saying that you have to get rid of all your cars. But I am saying that if you want to engage in the lifestyle that Jesus lived and told us that we have accessible to us to reawaken and reignite your soul, you are going to have to simplify in some major ways. Let your soul catch up. Simplify and enter into the easy, into the light, and the rest that Jesus has for you. God, I thank you so much for this time. I thank you for this day. God, I pray that we would take it to heart. God, that it wouldn't just be a checklist of 7 things, but that we would begin to engage. God, maybe there's other practices that you're bringing to mind right now, but that they would engage, that we would continue to engage in what it would look like to simplify our lives. To simplify our lives, not just for the sake of simplifying, but so that we could have our souls catch up or slow down, so that you could catch up, so that your ways could catch up with us, so that we could be more tuned into all the things that we say are the most important and meaningful things in the lives that you have given and blessed us with. And I pray for that. I thank you for it. In Jesus' name, everybody said, amen, amen. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love it. Never take it for granted. We got a prayer room out there. Whether you came in with your highs or your lows, we'd love to celebrate with you or mourn with you if that's the case. We